Good morning again. Today, with ringing our peace bowl, we affirm our collective hope for peace. We acknowledge that these lands that we love are the ancestral lands of the Yavapai people, the Wipukepas, the Tolkapayas, the Quivkapayas, and the Yavapai.
Hello. Hello and greetings. I was dancing to that tune, and I hope you feel free throughout this service to get up and move. That's a wonderful possibility if you are able and willing to. Good morning and welcome to Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Bronwyn Butterfield, your worship associate today, along with Sukey Jones. We extend a warm welcome to all, and we're glad you are able to join us, whether in person or in Zoom, on this cold, wintry day. Please take a moment to set your phones on worship mode. This is the mission statement of our congregation. We are a compassionate spiritual community that celebrates diversity, nurtures the personal and spiritual growth of all ages, shares our gifts, promotes justice for all, and serves the world we live in. Please join us after the service in small groups to socialize in the sanctuary and in Davis Hall. And of course, if you're viewing from Zoom, you may join us for breakout rooms after the service. This will give us all time to chat with congregates in small groups. If you're joining us for the first time, please check our website for more information, prescottuu.org. If you're here in person, stop by our visitors table in Davis Hall and chat with a member or two. We thank all our Sunday morning volunteers and give a special thank you to our members who will be speaking later in the service. I also want to acknowledge the immense contributions to today's service by Rhea Batterman. She was to be our worship associate. We hold her in our hearts as she continues to fight against chronic pain.
Before we begin our service, we have a few announcements. We're a busy congregation, so be sure to read announcements found in the order of service, the weekly peek on our website, and Reverend Patty's videos for updates and announcements. Our regular weekly Zoom meetings continue, the Wednesday morning forum, Wednesday afternoon faith development classes, and Friday lunch with the minister. Bev and Robert, our Children's Faith Development Program leaders, have resumed in-person classes for pre-K in the nursery, plus the older children meet in the religious education building across the street. The one announcement I want to call your attention to in the order of service is a request for packaged foods for the Martin Luther King celebration. So please read more about that one also.
We begin our service in the Unitarian Universalist tradition of lighting our chalice. Our chalice lighter this morning is Sukey Jones. Our lighting words are by Deborah Farrell. Fire consumes us and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets from the past, our fears about the future, and our worries about today. May it light for us a path of joy and peace.
Using the words of Sylvia Howe, we bid you welcome on the last Sunday of this year. We gather on the edge of a new year, saddened by our losses, cherishing our joys, aware of our failures, mindful of days gone by. We gather on the cusp of a new year, eager to begin anew, hopeful for what lies ahead, promising to make changes, anticipating tomorrows and tomorrows. We invite you to join our celebration, knowing that life can be good and bad, endings and beginnings. We bid you welcome. Our opening hymn is We Are Gathered by Amanda Udis Kessler. Please feel free to stand in body or spirit and hum quietly into your mask. Those on Zoom can sing with gusto.
We are gathered in the Spirit, our bodies are apart, filled with joy and touched with wonder, separate hands but mingled hearts, giving thanks and singing praises for the love that calls us on from our many different places. We are gathered into one. We are gathered in our sorrow. We are gathered in our fear, in our pain and in our worry, in our anger and our tears, as we tend to one another with our gifts and with our care. Our community is strengthened through the faith and hope we share. We are gathered in commitment to a planet that is home. Works of justice, acts of kindness, bless the world and heal our souls. As our voices join together, may our song of peace resound. May we offer in abundance all the grace that we have found.
And now, please join me for our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant together.
Our tradition of joys and sorrows and concerns may be different now, but we still continue to struggle with sorrows. Perhaps we struggle to let go. And we continue to find joys to celebrate, including our ability to move on. I invite those who wish to speak aloud their joy or concern to come forward to the microphone, say your name, and briefly share with us this morning that which you hold in your heart. Let us be silent for a moment. For all the concerns and joys not spoken aloud today, May our spirit embrace you and our love fill your heart. So may it be. Please sing these words of comfort if you are on Zoom, or hum along if here in person.
Walking with you is my prayer.
As we prepare to take the offering this morning, please let us embrace the feelings of connection and community that we have when we gather here each week. Let us remember that this congregation and its programs are supported by your generosity. We give back to the greater community through our Seeds of Support program. This month's recipient is Martin Luther King Day. Please read about them in your order of service. To give during this distance time, go to prescottuu.org. On the bottom left-hand side, click the word donate to contribute. This link is also available in the chat on the video. We acknowledge the generosity of spirit expressed through this offering. What is given in love is received in gratitude. Blessed be.
About a week ago, I heard this voice in my head out of the blue, and it said to me, "You have to let go in order for there to be space for the new." Now, I am not used to hearing voices in my head, so I tried to listen, but let go of what? In my usual manner, I made a list. Fears, shoulds, desires, suffering, memories, grudges, anger, control, expectations, perfection, anxiety, sadness, pain, stuff. You see my problem. I didn't know where to start. And then I resisted. I'm tired of thinking I have to let go. I don't want anything new in my life anyway. I suspect you've all gone down that same road. But for those attuned to nature, this is the time of year where that message is all around us as we watch trees release their leaves into the wind. A full moon, the winter solstice, a new year. These are times to release what no longer serves us. So, in time to help us with that, today's message is about letting go and moving on. Maybe you'll find some encouragement in the voices of our own congregation. First, we'll watch a video from old friends. That's the surprise for you today. Then Mary Steenhoek will give her perspective via video. Then we'll have a music interlude, and the name of it escapes me at the moment, but I want you to know the name. What a Wonderful Way to End a Crazy Year by David Archuleta will be our musical interlude. After that, we will hear from Bronwyn on moving from grief to grace. And finally, Peter Eldridge, who is moving on, in his own words, to the kindness of fate. First, letting go of place.
Good morning, dear Granite Peak friends. Gary and Molly here from Portland, Oregon, and we've been invited to share a few words on letting go and moving forward. Thank you for asking us to share a few moments with you this morning. Each of us has a history of moving every few years. Gary spent his career with IBM and moved 7 times. For a variety of reasons, the longest I have lived in one home is 7 years. Not planned, just the way it's worked out. I must have some gypsy blood.
The idea for our move back to the Portland area came about pretty quickly at the end of the year. We realized after being homebound because of COVID in 2020 that we both really felt we were too far away from family. We hadn't planned on an abrupt departure, but we got an offer on our house that we decided to jump on. Within 2 months, we had sold our lovely home in Prescott, bought a townhouse, sight unseen, in Lake Oswego, packed up and moved. It was a whirlwind and completely exhausting. I flew up to meet the movers who drove straight through in less than 2 days. Molly arrived during our car just in time to turn into the GP Winter Solstice service last December 2021. Molly and I first discovered UU at the UU of Surprise in 2010. We both felt we had discovered our spiritual home. When we considered moving to Prescott in 2015, we researched whether or not there was a UU congregation and were delighted to find 2 in Prescott.
I attended a Sunday Vesper service on a short visit and was warmly welcomed by several members, including Peter Eldridge, Nancy Snow, Hannah Stone, Clark Reed McKee, and Russ Erickson. I had a very good feeling about the possibilities of becoming part of the community. We attended the first weekend we moved to Prescott, and once again we felt immediately welcomed. I met Joan Brown that morning, and we quickly discovered many mutual interests.
The moving on with this move has been more difficult because of COVID. We immediately connected with the West Hills UU Fellowship, or WOOF, via internet, but this past Sunday was the very first opportunity in a whole year we have had to physically go to service in person. Getting to meet the other members is still very much a progress we look forward to participating in. As serendipity would have it, it's the same fellowship that Dan Boyce and Lila Cabot have also been affiliated with.
Looking back over that list of names of folks I met on our first visit, I realize how many of us have moved on from the nest of Granite Peak. I hope this will serve as a reminder to keep reaching out to visitors to the community and to try to actively engage new members. New members are the lifeblood of the congregation. Wherever life leads you, I hope you will be able to find a welcoming and supportive community as we have at each of our UU communities. We both feel so blessed to have had the opportunity to get to know you as friends and to carry the warmth of that connection every day in our hearts. So long, and blessings to each of you from both of us. Bye. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Looking back to look forward. So an ancient wisdom story goes that a man who was most troubled went to a wise healer. I have 83 problems. My crops won't grow. My wife is a nag. These problems are so heavy and I am miserable. Can you help me get rid of them? And the healer says, no, but I do have one more problem that may help you get rid of the 83. Oh, what is it? I'll do whatever you ask if I can be free of these 83 problems. Well, says the wise healer, the 84th problem is that you think you should have no problems. And so I begin my story by looking back to 2021. It is late January. I rise from my bed in the early morning to a glistening snow-covered yard. Snow covers my hummingbird sculpture up to its head. The heavy snow falls from the branches and it thumps on the ground. It turns out to be 24 inches accumulation, almost up to my hips, the biggest snowstorm I have experienced in my 80 years. The ecstasy that I feel at the beauty quickly turns to concern as I consider my physical reality. If I needed help, how would I get to the street? If the electricity failed, how would I contact other people? This isolation is a frightening thought. I must have some way to connect. Well, I can fix this. I can make a path. I'll be careful. And so I bundle up in jacket and mittens and begin the crisp, enlivening experience of scraping 3 inches off the top of the snow accumulation and tossing bits of it aside. Layer by layer, I make my path. It is joyous. I am strong. The cold air fills my lungs. This feels great. In due time, I have arrived at the street and I walk back up the path I have made with the hip-high snow on each side. I did it. The next morning tells a different story. My hips and sides ache when I get out of bed. I can hardly stand for the pain in my back. Holding on to whatever, I scuff to the bathroom, and each morning brings more pain. Panicky thoughts happen. like, I'll need a wheelchair. I'll need full-time care. I'm old. I'll never feel better than I feel right now. I should already have moved to a retirement center. And COVID looms, bringing the dark thoughts of isolation and possible illness. But soon I connect with a physical therapist. Actions that all my life I did without thinking, like lying on my back and bending my knees, are now monumental tasks. I follow the therapist's directions, but I feel like every move makes me hurt more. This physical therapy is a mistake, but I feel like I must do something. One friend suggests a chiropractor who has a series of healing sessions. They sound a little odd, but I'm ready to try anything. And at the office, a cheerful, dark-haired Ellen takes me to a back room. I lie on my back on one of the 6 brown plastic tables. I bend my knees, and the doctor tightens a large cross corset around my waist. He hooks it to a connecting wire that disappears somewhere over the end of the table. It doesn't hurt. He says it's 70 pounds, but it doesn't hurt. I lie there for 20 minutes, listening to soothing guitar music. A bell rings and Ellen comes to unhook and unvelcro me, and I stand, hopefully. I try to take a step. I feel the same severe pain. Just give this time, Ellen says. Well, the scene repeats all the following days with no noticeable improvement. Well, maybe we didn't catch you in time, says the doctor. At home, I mainly sleep because of COVID and not wanting to die with all this stuff around. I try to clean a closet and even a drawer of things I haven't used and don't need. Simplify, simplify, simplify. COVID and dying have become teammates. After 4 weeks and 10 sessions at the chiropractor, I do feel like I might live and I might be able to minimally take care of myself and my home. Slowly but surely, I notice improvements. I can walk around the block with less pain and exhaustion. My hip doesn't scream when I do the 2 steps down to the laundry room and back. Now, on a normal day, I walk my 10,000 steps and I often feel enthusiastic and creative and useful. What a wonderful ending. And yet, the 83 problems still stay. I'm obviously less able. At 80, I'm slower than I was. I can't touch my toes. I write everything down and make lists and forget so much. I more often prefer being home alone than out to a concert. So as I remember the ancient story, or maybe instead of 83 problems, these are all my 84th problem. The one that tells me that I should not have any problems. Problems are one of the realities of life. All people have problems. I could call them lessons in learning to accept what is and to let go of wanting what was. The 83 problems help me know I can go forward with all 84 problems. I'm not alone. I have companions. I have past experiences and resources to help me make the best choices with sadness, with honesty, and with joy.
Many of you recall the movie On Golden Pond when cantankerous Norman Thayer, played by Henry Fonda, could not find his way home after picking berries. My dad lived in this world for several years as he struggled with Alzheimer's. He was lost in his own foreboding forest. Corresponding with my father on Father's Day 2000 was going to be challenging. But then I realized that focusing on the good times we had together and recalling what I had learned from him would be healing and help me let go. So I wrote a letter. Irwin Adams Butterfield, born 1914, North Troy, Vermont. He passed in Rutland, Vermont in 2001. June 18th, 2000. Dear Dad, when a father is 85 years old, he's had just about every style of tie and brand of socks on the market for a Father's Day gift. Instead of sending you a present, I decided to write you a letter. I couldn't think of a better way to sweeten this special occasion. Although I think of you often, I have never attempted to recollect everything I've learned from you during my lifetime, not to mention recording it on paper. I only hope that my written expression of these memories can be as passionate as your work ethics and love of nature. As I recall, at the age of 2 years, I learned the value of security as you supported me under your arms and guided me, under my arms actually, and guided me on skis down the snowy slopes of Vermont. And how well I learned to endure the pain on many occasions as you knelt down to gently rub my frozen feet after skiing in sub-zero temperatures. I learned to remain calm in the midst of a crisis so that 2 lives weren't lost, but none at all. When at the age of 9, my friend fell through the ice on Lake Champlain. The bravest thing I did that morning was to turn away from her pleading cries for help, as I ran to get you in the ice shanty. You saved her life and became my hero. Working in your hardware store as a teenager, I learned the valuable lesson as quoted in Leviticus 19:11. You shall not steal, nor deal falsely, nor lie to one another. You assign me the task of discreetly following the gentleman who took things without paying. I observed your frustration, but at the same time understood the humiliation and the embarrassment it would cause this man and his family if you were to press charges. You used effective tactics to discourage him. During that same year, I was shocked when 3 of my friends stole jewelry from a local business in our town. I was not aware they had stolen the merchandise until we got back in the car. My reaction was certainly a surprise to my companions and dissuaded them from asking me on any further shopping trips. Making keys was the highlight of my life at Woodcraft Hardware Store. I was consumed with pride and self-confidence when you bestowed that task upon me. I'm sure that decision cost you more than you made due to my numerous attempts to perfect this skill. Even now, I itch to get on that key machine at True Value here in Prescott, Arizona. While I was off to college learning to become a hippie, you called upon me to accompany you on a business trip to Philadelphia. A large hardware corporation had proposed buying into your business, and it didn't take us long to realize that the amount of control they would soon have had they taken over your business. On the flight home, you asked for my opinion, and I strongly expressed it. I saw it as the beginning of corporate America, the end of small business survival in this country. Once again, you were my hero when you declined their offer. That trip taught me a worthy lesson in parenting skills. Let your children know that you value them, for in doing so, they learn to value themselves. I'm trying to remember or recall what I learned from the garden in your backyard. I had moved into our home temporarily during the summer of 1972, between my freshman and sophomore year in college. After I dug a 5 by 10 foot hole in the lawn to garden, I promptly moved out. Other opportunities had arisen that seemed much more important at the time. I think it had something to do with going on a journey to find myself. However, I did manage to line that garden with bricks. In fact, we laid them together. Today, those bricks are still in the yard, and you have tenderly planted 25 vegetable gardens. Who would have thought that this precipitated the beginning of your backyard gardening adventures and a source of contentment and peace in your life? I suppose the lesson learned here are the words Willa Cather so eloquently expresses: where there is great love, there are miracles. Patience. Yes, I certainly experienced unending patience at the age of 37 as I learned the skill of fly fishing. The fly, you realize, must light upon the surface so delicately so as not to cause a ripple. God forbid you alert that 15-inch brown trout and ruin your chances in the best hole in the stream. I don't think you actually expected me to fall in and swim with the trout. That did end up happening on more than one occasion. Those rocks are slippery. Dad, you've taught me so many other things as well, but I fear you would tire if you had to read the remaining 100 pages that it would take to record them all. I do know that this brief list is genuine, for it represents the very essence of my existence. Farewell, my knight, my hero, my dad. Loving, your loving daughter.
Good morning. We are supposed to give up things and look forward to what's to come. We've heard great wisdom here today about things that people are willing to give up, about pastimes that were wonderful, but that we have to go ahead and seek what's to come. My assignment was to consider whether to give up or to look forward, and I kind of combined the two in saying that the one thing I want to give up is complaining. I have to stop looking at things through that negative lens. I have to stop carrying with me the baggage. In fact, Sukey, to have you say, let it go. To have the program today start with Let It Be, one of my favorite songs of all time. Let it be. So let all that stuff go. We have had a tough year, no kidding. COVID has been one of the big factors. We've lost some of our dear fellows here. And sadness is a part of life. Suffering is a part of life. I'm learning to start to let it go. This is a hard process to go through, and I can't say that I just accomplished this by turning a switch. It's not possible. that way. But in agreeing to not carry the baggage with me and take up space in my mind, take up space in my life, I think the concept of looking forward to the great whatever. Yeah, this is a time of resolutions. We promise to. I can't say that I promise to do X. What I do promise to do is keep going. That there is a possibility out there that I don't know yet, some discovery that I'll make, some book that I'll listen to. My goodness, I had no idea that there would be such books as Braiding Sweet Grass, Contact with the Earth, Sights and Sounds. Lots to look forward to. So I commit, maybe not to resolve, but I commit to going forward. We can dance with life or we can stumble through life. And I think I really want to dance through life. Thanks for that comment, Bronwyn. Thought you might even dance during some of this music that was today. So, thinking of Albert Lovejoy, I think I'll sign off with, let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance.
Thank you, Molly, Gary, Mary, Bronwyn, and Peter. The following meditation on letting go is by Carol Allman Morton. Many of us carry a burden of worry, anxiety over the state of the world, worries about money, about our environment, our families, about peace and justice. May we trust that nothing will get worse for us putting that burden down for a moment. May we let go of what weighs us down. May we find that we can set down worry for longer and longer periods of time. In our experience of letting go, may we be open to the possibility that we need not pick our worries back up. May we find passion and strength to work for change where we have the power to do so, and to let go where we do not. If not forever, let us put down any worries or anxiety for a time of quiet. May we be in quiet together. Our closing hymn is One More Step Along the World We Go, sung by the Upper Clyde Parish Church. This one doesn't make me feel like dancing so much as marching. So if you all want to get up, hum into your masks and march. It'll be just fine. Stand as you're able. May you find it easy to joyfully hum along.
our closing words. The author is unknown, but these are some thoughts from the piece called Life or Live Life. Life is crazy and totally unpredictable. It's going to push you over, kick you down, and hit you when you try to get back up. Not everything can beat you. Things are going to change you, but you get to choose which ones you let change you. Listen to your heart. Follow your dreams, and let no one tell you what you're capable of. Push the limits, bend the rules, and enjoy every minute of it. And have a reason for everything, even if it's totally insane. Find your purpose in life and live it.
Please join in reading the words for extinguishing of our chalice flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Are there any visitors here for the first time? And if so, would you be willing to stand up and introduce yourselves? Or maybe this is your second time. Well, I now invite you. Are there any? No? Okay. I now invite you to take a moment to greet your neighbors, especially those visiting for the first time, and there will be a social time available in the congregation, as well as the breakout rooms at the end of the service.